Ladies and gentlemen, I am officially back from Call of Duty Next, and boy do we have a lot to talk about. Between this channel and Ink TV, our impressions and story, there is a lot to cover. Now, on top of that, the beta comes out today for Call of Duty Black Ops 7, and we're going to be checking that out on stream as well. But at Call of Duty Next, there was by far one announcement, one thing that was bigger than everything else, and it was this.
There is a small secret you want to share with the community.
The rumors are true, Miles, because I do have a secret that I would like to share with the community, because remember back in June, after the Black Ops 7 confirmation, you and we did an episode of the COD Pod.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, where we go.
Shout out to the COD Pod.
Shout out to the COD Pod. Yeah. Straight, first up, like, comment, and subscribe. Like, for real, check that out.
But there was a shot from the teaser that got the community, let's say, pretty excited.
Yeah, okay. Where are you going with this?
And I said, hey, This is indeed a shot from the upcoming Black Ops 7 co-op campaign, right?
Yeah.
So that's the truth. This is campaign gameplay.
Yeah.
This is Avalon.
Yeah.
But what if I told you that two things can be true at once? So I am happy to officially confirm that we are bringing a bold new experience to Warzone in the spring, inspired by the original Blackout and set on Avalon.
Shut the front door, Blackout, baby! We're back! I've got some incredible memories of Blackout with my friends.
So the return of Blackout to Black Ops 7 and Warzone. Here's the thing, if you started playing Call of Duty in Modern Warfare 2019, you might not even know what Blackout is. And the other thing that you may not know is the story behind it. So first things first, what is Blackout? Well, it is actually Call of Duty's first battle royale. It was a part of Call of Duty Black Ops 4. In other words, you had to pay for it. It was not free to play like Warzone was, and that was kind of the downfall of it. But it was also a lot different than Warzone for a couple of main reasons. Number one, there were no loadouts. So I would assume in the new version, there's also going to be no loadouts. On top of that, if you found a weapon, you would also have to find and equip attachments for that weapon in order to improve it. So instead of a loadout, you had to find everything. Everything was based off of RNG. There's various different types of health packs, and even your armor level was dependent on what you could find. So level 1, 2, and 3 armor could be found around the map, and the only one that would protect your head from a sniper shot was level 3 armor. And on top of that, probably the coolest thing about Blackout, in my opinion, was the operator and operator challenges. There was a bunch of operators in Black Ops 4 that were locked unless you would unlock them through challenges within Blackout. And these weren't just like get 100 headshots or get this many kills with this many weapon. These were things based off of RNG where you'd have to go in, find, for example, Reznov's hat, and then get a 200-meter kill with a sniper, one shot, one kill, while having that hat in your inventory. And then some of them you even had to win the game with. They were difficult, they were not easy, and lo and behold, it added a lot of replayability to this game. So needless to say, they are bringing Blackout back within Warzone during Black Ops 7, supposedly spring of 2026. So all of those mechanics, or at least some of them, should be returning to this, and it is going to be on the Avalon map. Now, the interesting thing about Avalon is it is going to be where the main hub of the Black Ops 7 campaign takes place, as well as the end game, which is supposed to be this open world, which, by the way, at Call of Duty Next, we got zero information on Avalon or end game or anything like that. I'm asking questions, I'm trying to get intel on it. That'll be to come. Now, what you also probably didn't know is that there is an entire story for Blackout that a lot of you probably didn't know, because you may remember this, Black Ops 4 didn't have a campaign. So its entirety of its story was based around the specialist operators as well as Blackout and the story behind that. So I know that was a long intro, but without further ado, let's dive in and let me explain to you what the story of Blackout is. And believe it or not, if they implement it within Avalon, this might actually be the origin story of Blackout. So to understand the story of Blackout, you have to understand the story of Black Ops 4, and it starts with someone by the name of Savannah Mason Myers, aka David Mason's daughter or Alex's granddaughter.
I chose to do it from a lab and a boardroom. But Jessica wanted to fight.
Happy birthday, Mommy.
You have a beautiful heart, Lucy. Just like your mother. And that's what got her killed.
So Savannah Mason is telling the story of her sister, Jessica Mason, who got killed, apparently, in a mission that she was sent on. Now, she was sent on this mission by Savannah, but that'll come out later. However, she is telling this to her daughter, Lucy, who is Jessica's daughter. So anyway, she goes on this mission alongside some of the other specialist operators who you probably have seen before, whether it be Donnie Walsh or whether it be Baker. She goes in and gets shot in the face. By the end of this, we see her laying on the ground with her jaw seemingly shot off or maybe just dislocated, but she's laying there bleeding out.
Your mom had to. She died for what she believed in. She was my little sister.
I miss her every day.
Your mom was, she was very brave. Just like her grandpa. Until we meet again.
Now we get to find out a little bit more about Savannah Mason. We find out that she is the world's first trillionaire. Also, one thing I noticed about this is it appears as though this is in Alaska, which is where her father, David Mason, actually grew up. That's just, we'll come back to that maybe when Black Ops 7 comes out. But we don't know how she's the trillionaire, but we know that she's helped out these specialist operators. Battery had her arm shot off, and now she has this cybernetic augmentation. So we start to see where she kind of specializes. And as we get more and more information in the stories, we can find out more and more about the specialists that are working for her. Each of them has a dark and seeded backstory, which she kind of swooped in and was able to either help them out, get them back in the military, or help them out with cybernetic augmentations, or any or many things along those lines. Now, Ruin or Donnie Walsh was working alongside Savannah when eventually she gets contacted by a mysterious person, and basically is told that that mission that they went on early on, where Battery got her arm shot off and Jessica Mason got killed, they were actually sent there by Savannah Mason, and the reason why is because Jessica Mason was trying to put a stop to what Savannah was doing. So basically, Jessica gets in contact with all of these different specialist operators and pulls them out of working with Savannah and makes them to start working with her.
The specialists are Doc. Are they still alive? Who wants us dead?
They've been manipulating you, watching you, exploiting you. And when they get what they want, they'll leave you for dead.
Lucy, this is Donnie.
Jessica? You... How?
Alone, you can put up a fight. But together, you can start a war.
Now, you may have noticed that this scene was narrated by Alex Mason. Now, you should know that Alex Mason is long dead at the point of this game, as it takes place in the year 2045. He would be well into his hundreds, and we already know, based off of the Black Ops story, that he's dead. So how is he talking in this scene? Did Jessica Mason somehow make an AI version of him, or what is going on here? Well, this is when we get into the story of Blackout.
Welcome to the immersion. Your instructor has been activated. His methods are unconventional and often nuanced. But if you want to fight and
Face it! Better be goddamn good. You woke me up.
Sergeant Frank Woods, you look like hammered shit.
It's all in your mind, Mason. The real world, I'm pretty. Get the hell out of here. I got this. We'll talk later.
So So Frank Woods gets introduced to us, and this is early on in the Black Ops 4 story, and we kind of assume from the way that this happens as we are in some sort of simulation, maybe hooked up with the direct neural interfaces. We are here, and the person training us is Frank Woods, but this is a computer, so it makes sense. We know Frank Woods is dead at this point, but he's here via the simulation that we are in. Well, turns out that wasn't the only plan that Savannah Mason had. This is what we find out from some audio files.
Hey, where are you?
What keeps you alive in a cage is knowing you're in a cage.
You're not in a cage, Frank.
I look him in the eye every single day. I'm losing him.
Oh, come on. Now you're just feeling sorry for yourself. Out here, they get another shot. A fair chance.
That's why I love you, sweetheart. You make no fucking sense whatsoever.
Oh, piss off. They made a choice. If you're losing them, just grab yourself a Huey and run search and rescue.
Yeah, that's a great fucking idea.
Now, this is when we realize that things have gotten weird, because we realize that Frank Woods is in a relationship with Savannah Mason. In other words, his best friend's granddaughter. I know, incredibly weird, but that's not the part of the story that we really need to dive into here, because we end up finding out about a little something called archetypes.
Our archetypes are the cure. You, me, Woods, Mason. All of us.
So we first hear about archetypes. Now, what are these archetypes? That is the question. Well, the next thing that we end up finding out is that her sister, Savannah Mason's sister, Jessica, is highly against what she is doing here.
You're out of your fucking mind! My project is beyond our wildest dreams. I made this real. Me! It's not ethical. You've seen what happens. How is that a better world? People are dying.
So Jessica Mason says that she's going to put an end to this, and that's when we get to that very first cutscene that we saw, where Jessica Mason, Donnie Walsh, and Battery all go into the building, and Jessica Mason gets seemingly killed, but we know she's not, but seemingly killed. She was actually sent on that mission by Savannah Mason, so she could keep going forward with the Archetype Project.
Jessica! Oh my god, Jessica! I'm sorry, Jessica! Jessica! Oh, no. You're not Jessica.
So after killing her sister, saving the project, she is then able to move forward with it, which, as we're going to find out, is called this.
This whole incident was merely an oversight. Project Blackout is thriving. Sites are under construction all over the world.
So the project is known as Blackout. The thing that it's creating is known as archetypes. What are these archetypes? Simple. These are clones of people from the past, which then explains how the same operators can keep going into the same battlefield, that being the one that we play in Blackout, and die over and over and over again, but keep coming back nearly or identically the same, which is interesting because that explains the respawning thing. It explains how you can play more than once, and explains that this is kind of like a military testing facilities for these archetypes. And they said these Blackout facilities are being built all over the world, which one of them, or maybe even the first one, could be in Avalon. So these clones are created by Savannah, which seemingly hold on to some of the memories of the previous person. In other words, Raul Menendez is one of the people that Savannah Mason brought back. It has some of the memories of Menendez, but doesn't act exactly the same. And we finally get to see this in the last cutscene of Black Ops 4, when we see Frank Woods and Alex Mason talking to each other, but seemingly they have switched roles.
Thanks. Angola. Sorry, kid. No. It's you in the box. It's always been you. Don't black out, man. I'm on it.
So you could see Alex Mason as opposed to Frank Woods in the wheelchair. Again, seemingly their roles flipped. But what does this mean for Blackout if it comes back within Warzone? Well, first off, if it's taking place at the same time as Black Ops 7, it's 2035, which is 10 years before the events of Project Blackout. In other words, it would be right at the very beginning of that. And if we look at the story of Black Ops 7, what we see is the rising of a huge, massive robotics company known as the Guild. We also know that Savannah Mason is set to be the world's first trillionaire. So it is quite possible that throughout the story of Black Ops 7, we maybe get introduced to David Mason's daughters, both Jessica Mason and Savannah Mason in one form or another, which will end up setting up what comes of Blackout. We also happen to know that somehow, even after Raul Menendez was said to be dead, he is making a return in Black Ops 7. Potentially, this could be an archetype. Now, personally, I believe it's some form of AI making this video, and they're going to do some sort of commentary on that. But it could, especially if they're doing this Blackout story, be some form of archetype, maybe an early version of it. But this is what we know. This has been the Blackout story so far. Where it ties in and whatever happens, I will, of course, keep you guys updated. But if you're excited for Blackout, maybe you didn't know what it was, let me know down in the comments. And until next time, peace.
We are reaching for the stars.